So, have you ever noticed how complicating decluttering has become? What used to be just sorting out a drawer has somehow turned into this 8-hour project that also requires this really expensive organizing system that promises if everything is perfectly contained, you'll finally feel calm and happy and walk off into the sunset with a magazine perfect home. Yeah, I tried that. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that's not how it goes. If you try decluttering advice and it feels bigger than the mess itself, stick with me because today we are taking some old fashioned wisdom and giving it a modern upgrade. Hey there, I'm Tracy Lynn, and I teach midlife women how to right size their homes. And over the last year, I've been building a method that flips the script on traditional decluttering, giving women practical tools that actually help them make progress without feeling overwhelmed. And I want to start this with a question. Have you noticed how decluttering today feels very complicated? There are bins, there are labels, there are color coded systems, and 47-step methods. And still, we're over here totally overwhelmed. Meanwhile, my grandmother ran an entire household without a storage unit or a label maker or always having to declutter another area in her home. She wasn't stressed about her stuff. Every item had a purpose, it did a specific job, and it lived in a specific place. She wasn't buried in things, and she definitely wasn't watching organizing video reels at 10 o'clock at night, right? The truth is, our grandmothers were living right size before it had a name. So, today I want to share 5 decluttering tips our grandmothers always knew, and then I'm going to show you how to modernize them so they actually work for downsizing today. Because we don't need to go backwards, we just need to remember what worked. Okay, so number one, and this is an old school classic, and I know you've heard it before, a place for everything and everything in its place. Grandma did not tolerate wandering stuff. There was no, I'll set this here for now and deal with it later piles in her home. There were no mystery objects living on the counter for 3 weeks. And everything she had a home where it lived. And that was why her counters were clear, why the table was always usable, right? And there weren't towels all over the bathroom floor. And it was also why her sink wasn't full of dirty dishes. You could walk into her house and instantly feel at home. I remember I would just, oh my gosh, my grandma's home is so cozy and so inviting and so lovely. And I think that's why. Sure, it was lived in, it wasn't sterile, but it wasn't in buried in piles, mess, chaos, or just random stuff everywhere. You were greeted by order, not a chaotic hot mess of too much stuff. Now, that alone is a great tip all by itself, right? But here's where we're going to level it up. Stop by asking, where can I put this? And start asking, does this item even deserve rent in my home? Because here's the truth, space in your home, it's not free, right? Too much stuff lying out, it's stressful, it's exhausting, and it causes you to lose peace in your home. So if it's not part of your current routines, it doesn't get to stay. End of story, full stop. And that right there, that is the shift from decluttering things to downsizing your home with purpose. Now we come to number 2. If you actually start doing this, your house will look different by the end of the week. And I've mentioned this one before because it is such a game changer. Never leave a room empty handed. It's old school gold, right? It is the one that really makes lasting change. So anytime grandma walked from one room to another, she carried something with her, a cup, a sweater, maybe a stack of mail from that day. She was always on the lookout for what I like to call tiny resets. She didn't wait for Sunday to declutter. She didn't block off a whole afternoon to clean up the mess, right? She just handled things as she moved about her day. And that's why nothing ever got out of control. Now, here's where we modernize it. I really should have practiced that word before I decided to talk about this. Don't just carry it, close the loop. That is a biggie. We're not going to just carry it, we're going to close the loop. So if you're walking to the kitchen from the family room with a coffee mug, don't just set it in the sink, rinse it out, put it right in the dishwasher. If you're heading upstairs with a sweater, don't just drop it on the bed, hang it up in the closet, or fold it and put it in the drawer. If you grab the mail, don't move it to another pile somewhere else in your home. Deal with it right then and there. And the difference, by closing the loop, you're not relocating clutter, you are actually resolving it. And when you start closing the loop in real time, your house stops feeling like a bunch of half finished chores, right? Now you're staying ahead of the clutter instead of chasing it. Okay, now we're at number 3. And this one, it might sting just a little bit, but our grandmothers did not keep not multiples of every single thing in the home. They had one, just one, or they had just enough. They didn't have 5 can openers. They didn't have 3 junk drawers that are full of pens and pencils and papers and scissors. And they didn't have backup versions of items they couldn't even find in the first place. They kept what they used and they only kept what they needed. But somewhere along the way, that whole approach, it completely changed, right? We started buying extras. And at first it made sense. I'll grab another one so I have a backup just in case I misplace or break the first one, right? Oh, I can't find it. So I'll just pick up another one. That's a biggie for me. Hey, I can never find the scissors. So I'm going to buy this pack of 3. So now I have plenty of scissors in my kitchen, right? But that's where the clutter cycle begins. Because the more we buy, the harder it is to keep things where they belong. Because now I have all these scissors. I'm not going to keep 3 scissors right there. I'm going to put one in this drawer and one in this drawer and hang one on the fridge and put one in the family room and put one in the office. And now I have a clutter collection of scissors. Then that makes us have too much stuff. So then we can't find what we already own. So we assume we need another one. So we go out and buy it, which gives us more stuff, which makes it even harder to find our things, which leads to buying more multiples. And suddenly we're not organized. We are managing inventory and we're exhausted by it. So here's a modern upgrade. Instead of asking, do I need another one? Ask yourself, how many of these do I realistically use at one time? It may not mean you need more of something. It may only mean you need a better home for locating it. Okay? Because downsizing, it's not about depriving yourself. It's about making things easier to do in your home. And that means you need to stop the overflow before it starts. Because when you stop buying multiples you don't actually need, you don't have to declutter them later. And that breaks the clutter cycle. All right, I need to take a breath because I'm getting all fired up. Okay, now we're on to number 4. This is the 1 in, 1 out rule. And I know I've mentioned this one before, but again, it was too good not to mention in this top 5. So back in our grandmother's day, everything was smaller. Closets, kitchens, even the drawers in our dressers were smaller, right? So if something new came into the house, something had to leave. It wasn't a trendy rule. It was actual math. There was only so much room in grandmother's home, right? And they respected that. Now, fast forward to today, our homes are bigger. The closets are deeper. The cabinets stretch on for miles. But here's the problem. We started acting like our space had no limits. So we'd bring something in and we'd just make it fit, right? Or worse yet, we'd buy this special organizer to make more room and stack things up so that they would fit without falling, right? So one of the things that I used to do was buy the clips on for my cabinets to give me another shelf. It didn't matter that I had 100 cabinets in my other house. I wanted more, or yeah, with all the shelves inside, I wanted more shelf space so I could get more stuff. So instead of 2 sets of dishes, I could have 5 sets of dishes. It was ridiculous. I was creating space to bring more stuff in, which just meant I had more stuff I routinely passed over to go to the same dishes that I use day in and day out. So there's no wonder when we buy organizers to make more space that everything always feels crowded, right? So here's how we're going to modernize it. Now get ready. This one might be hard, but I really want you to hear this because if you are living in a home with too much stuff, this is what I want you to start doing right now. When you bring something in, I don't want you to take 1 out. I want you to take 3 out. So 1 in, 3 out. That's your new rule going forward. So you bring in 1 new top because you went to the store, you bought something lovely, you're super excited. You need to find 3 articles of clothing to get out of the place where you're putting it. So if you're hanging it in the closet, look for 3 things that can leave the hanging space in your closet to free up room for that shirt to land. Look for things you haven't worn in months or things you haven't worn in years, because that's the shift that I want you to notice. One in, one out, sure, that's fine if your area is already right size. That maintains the level where you're at right now. But 1 in, 3 out, that creates change. And that change is exactly what moves you from managing clutter to actively downsizing your home on purpose. Talk about game changer. All right. And then we come to number 5. And this one might explain why your closet feels overwhelming every single morning. Our grandmothers rotated clothing by season. So when the seasons changed, the closet changed. Winter clothes left, summer clothes came in. That was it. You didn't have summer tops tangled in with your winter sweaters. You didn't have 4 seasons crammed into one space. And because of that, there was a lot less overwhelm. So our grandmothers weren't digging through piles of clothes they couldn't even wear just to find one outfit that worked, because their closet was small. They only had so much room and they needed to work with that space, not force it to work for them. Okay. Your closet is not a storage unit. It is meant to hold the clothes you're actively wearing in the moment. So put the things you're not wearing into an area in your home where you can store it until that season rolls around again. Because just because your closet got bigger as time went on doesn't mean you need to fill that closet up. Open space is much more inviting and welcoming and peaceful than a closet that has 5,000 outfits crammed inside. Okay, now here's how we're going to modernize it. Here's the thing about grandma. Her closet wasn't overstuffed with options. It was stocked with things she needed. That's the difference. And today, like I just said, we buy things because we have the space to do it. So maybe we go out shopping and this new style of top came up on Instagram. We order it online, or we're out shopping and we're like, oh, I need a new outfit because I'm bored with the clothes that I have, because there's so much. I'm overwhelmed by the number of options. So I can't see that I still have things in there with tags on them. I kid you not. So we want something new and fresh. We bring it in because it's going to make us feel good. But wanting something is not the same as needing something. Okay. Did you hear me? Wanting something is not the same as needing something. And right sizing your closet means you are aiming for just enough. 3 pairs of jeans instead of a dresser drawer full. Enough so that you have options, enough that you feel comfortable and good and put together, but not so much that your clothes are fighting for space and you're overwhelmed before the day even starts. If your hangers are crammed together, that's not abundance, that's overcrowding. And overcrowding leads to more shopping because you can't see what you already own. Our grandmothers didn't need bigger closets. They had just enough. And that's what downsizing really gives you, not emptiness, clarity. And when your closet holds just enough for your real life today, right now, getting dressed not only becomes simple, it becomes enjoyable. And that's what I want for you. I want you to have a home that you enjoy being in, that you enjoy living in. That is my goal for you. Okay, so here's what I want you to really see. Our grandmothers weren't better at organizing than we are. They weren't following some magical system that we missed out on. They simply lived within capacity. They didn't overbuy, they didn't overstore, and they didn't treat their homes like a storage unit. They understood something we've slowly forgotten over the years, that just because you have the space does not mean you should fill it. And somewhere along the way, we started believing that if you just found the right organizer, the right method, or the right product to keep things contained, we'd finally feel in control. But control doesn't come from cramming more in. It comes from deciding what actually deserves to be there in the first place. And your life and how you're living right now, that is the litmus test for what actually deserves to be here. Right sizing is about having just enough for the life you're living right now. And when you start making decisions from that place, when you stop buying multiples you don't need, when you choose to close the loop instead of relocating clutter, and when you respect the limits of the space that you have, something shifts, right? Your home feels lighter. you feel calmer and your home starts working for you again. And that's what right size living really is. Okay, again, I'm out of breath, you guys. I get so excited. I talk so fast, I get out of breath. All right. I hope you enjoyed this video. Before you go, do all the things. Give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you share it with someone that might need this help. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any videos that are coming in. And leave me a comment. Let me know where you're struggling. Let me know what you love. Let me know what video you would like to see more of so we can add it to the list and possibly do that video in the future. All right. I'm Tracy Lynn. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.